Honorable members, let's pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and then grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come out of deliberations in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our charge. Amen. Other members, we don't have the numbers, and luckily, like usual, the majority whip, Honorable Wangwe, is in. So we probably are going to make members come in using him. So I order the bell to be rung for 10 minutes.
Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Cheboy, has just ordered that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. This is according to the standing orders on the commencement or at the commencement of the House. If the House lacks the requisite quorum, then a quorum bell will be rung for 10 minutes. Of course, this is to give the allowance to the members who are yet to walk into the chambers to get into the chamber for the House business to commence. The House is looking at 50 members physically present in the chambers to kick off its business this morning. Just to remind you is that this is an additional seating that was proposed by the House leadership on the Wednesday morning sitting. Remember, the House is or the 12th Parliament. The 12th Parliament is about to come to an end for the National Assembly. Today marks the end of the sitting for the 12th Parliament. So basically this is an additional sitting that was proposed by the House leadership to enable the House conclude on a number of priority motions and bills before the House proceeds on the sine die recess this afternoon once this afternoon sitting is over. But lined up for debate are a number of motions that the House will be considering. The county allocation of revenue bill, a bill originating from the Senate, Bill number 1 of 2022 by the Chairperson Budget and Appropriations Committee, is set to be read for the first time this morning. This particular bill again will be read for the second time, of course, to give the opportunity to the National Assembly members to debate on this bill and its contents. So the bill will be read for the first time and again be read for the second time. This is a bill that is originating from the Senate, and the principal objective of this bill is to make provisions for the allocations of revenue raised nationally among the county governments for the financial year 2022-2023. It contains the objects and the purposes of the bill, which is to provide for the allocation of revenue raised nationally for the financial year 2022-2023, as well as the transfer of the county allocations from the consolidated fund to the respective county revenue fund. In this case, the counties have been allocated a total of 370 billion shillings. The bill deals with the allocation of equitable share of revenue raised nationally to each county government. The bill also provides for the modalities of funding over transferred functions. The bill also provides for the publishing of monthly reports by the national government on actual transfers of all allocations to county governments. It also provides for the respective county treasury to reflect the total allocations from the national government separately in the county finance bill and reflect all transfers in the books of accounts. This is a bill by the chairperson on finance and budget. Pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 42A, subsection 5, a number of members will be able to ask questions for reply before specified departmental committees. This morning, the member for Kwale County, Honorable Zulekha Hassan, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs to provide, or whether the Cabinet Secretary could provide a status report on the utilization of the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, commonly known as NGAF, monies across the country with regard to projects and other development-related undertakings. Zulekha will be also asking the Cabinet Secretary to explain when the proposals for the operationalization of a milk processing plant in Lunga Lunga constituency and installation of cashew nuts processing machines in Matuga constituency and NGAF will be approved, considering that it is now almost 3 years since the proposals were first submitted to the NGAF board. Honorable Zulekha Hassan will be posing those two questions to the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs. And it is a question that written reply by the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs. Currently is a 10-minute quorum bell that gives an allowance for the members to walk into the chambers for the commencement of the House business. 50 members are needed to be physically present at the chambers for the House business to start. This morning, members will also be proceeding on a committee of the whole House to consider 3 bills. There is the Supplementary Appropriation Number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill Number 33 of 2022 by the Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee. There is also the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill Number 1 of 2022 by the Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee, which is a bill that is scheduled to be read for the first time and again to be read for the second time. The Supplementary Appropriations Number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill Number 33 of 2022, makes provisions for giving statutory sanction for public expenditure for the year ending on the 30th June 2022 on the basis of the Supplementary 2 Estimates of Expenditure 2021-2022 recurrent and the Supplementary 2 Estimates of the Expenditure 2021-2022 development, and for the appropriation of those amounts. So it is a bill that will be considered at the committee of the whole House this morning. as well as the County Allocation Revenue Bill, that is a bill originating from the Senate. The Kenya Revenue Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 24 of 2022. This is by the Leader of Majority. Will also be considered at the Committee of the Whole House this morning. This bill seeks to amend the Kenya Revenue Authority Act 1995 by changing the name Kenya Revenue Authority to Kenya Revenue Service, and to amend other statutes which have a reference. A Chief Whip of the National Assembly at the entrance of the chambers, as you can see, Honorable Emmanuel Wangwe. Of course, this morning he will, or rather he will be whipping members to walk into the chambers for the House to achieve its plan to consider a number of motions and bills that have been termed as priority before the House comes to a close in the afternoon. Members walking in, Honorable Esther Pasares there, and it is a quorum bell of 10 minutes just to ensure that the House achieves the required number to commence its business. The Kenya Revenue Authority Amendment Bill is a bill that seeks to amend the Kenya Revenue Act of 1995 by changing the name Kenya Revenue Authority to Kenya Revenue Service.
Let's proceed.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Where's the message?
Order members, you can take your seats. Those who are still walking into the chamber. Honorable members, pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 41, I wish to report to the House that I have received a message from the Senate regarding the passage of the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2022. The message reads in part, and I quote, the Senate on Wednesday, 8th June 2022 passed the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2022 with amendments. And honorable members, as you are aware, the County Allocation of Revenue Bill is an annual legislation introduced in accordance with the provisions of Article 218 of the Constitution with the objective of equitably sharing and allocating the share of national revenue amongst 47 counties. Given the urgency of the passage of this bill, the House Business Committee prioritized its consideration in the National Assembly ahead of the Sinedai adjournment. In this regard, the bill is scheduled for consideration by the House today in all stages pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 124-2A relating to consideration of certain bills at all stages in one sitting. Honorable members, it is worth noting that a County Allocation of Revenue Bill is a special bill concerning the county governments in terms of Article 110-2A, Roman 2 of the Constitution. This implies that the amendment proposed in the bill in the National Assembly requires support of at least 2/3 of all its members to pass. The House is accordingly guided, and I thank you.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
There are a series of papers that I hope today the members are in. So let's start with the Leader of Majority Party.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Leader of Majority Party, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, June 9th, 2022, this morning sitting. 1, Annual Report and Financial Statements of the Capital Market Authority for the financial year 2020-2021. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. let's go to the Chairperson Select Committee on Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library. Absent. Chairperson Select Committee on Constitutional Implementation and Oversight Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, 9th June 2022 morning session. Exit report on the Constitutional Implementation Oversight Committee for the 12th Parliament 2017 to 2022. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. The Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources. Absent. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation. Also absent. Chairperson, Budget and Appropriation Committee.
Maybe another 20 minutes. It should be on the way. Thank you, sir. Exit reporting.
Departmental Committee on Education and Research.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, June 9th, 22 morning sitting. Report of the Departmental Committee on Education and Research on the public petition regarding violation of the right to relevant education and training by Egerton University, submitted by a group of Egerton University students. Chair, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, June 9th, 2022 morning sitting. Report of the Departmental Committee on Education and Research on a petition regarding review show by Teachers Service Commission to acknowledge undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate qualification attained by in-service teachers from recognized university. This I'm doing, Chair, on behalf of the Chair. This I'm doing, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Chair, Education Committee and Research. Thank you very much.
Okay. Let me go for a second time. The Chairperson, Parliamentary and Broadcasting and Library Committee. The chair or any representative of that committee? Any indication? Because I only see a request by one member. Very interesting, because normally we have many requests. It's only the Honorable Member for Nairobi, the Honorable Pasaris, who has made a request. I'm not so sure it is for which, but there is nobody else. Now let's go to the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources. Any representation? Where? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, June 9, 2022 morning sitting. Report of the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources on consideration of a public petition regarding displacement of Kyoto homeowners self-help group, Kyoto Estates, by the rising level of Lake Naivasha, Nakuru County. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Any other chair who is willing to do the committee? That is the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Communication, Information, and Innovation. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, June 9th, the morning sitting. The report of the Departmental Committee on its consideration of the Startup Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2021. Mr. Speaker,
Another one, Honorable Speaker, I wish to also lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, June 9th, morning sitting. The exit report of the Departmental Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation for the 12th Parliament, 2017 to 2022. Thank you.
I think that marks the end of that particular order, so we go to the next order, now that we do not see the Chair of Environment.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
The Honorable Zuleika. You have the mic now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And let me just, this mic doesn't seem to be working next to this iPad. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to ask question 119 of 2022 to the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs. 1, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a status report on the utilization of the National Government Affirmative Action Fund monies across the country with regard to projects and other development-related undertakings? 2, could the Cabinet Secretary explain when the proposals for the operationalization of a milk processing plant in Lungalunga constituency and installation of cashew nuts processing machines in Matuga constituency and Angaf will be approved, considering that it is now almost 3 years since the proposals were submitted to the Angaf board?
Very well. That will be for a written reply by the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Gender and Senior Citizen Affairs and Special Program. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. Report of the Committee of the Whole House on the Supplementary Appropriations number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2022. Question to be put in third reading.
Chair, please, can we get to hear something from you? Because I can see there is a notice of recommittal.
Yep. Honorable Chair, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the Whole House be amended by inserting the word subject to the committal. An Honorable Speaker.
Which one? Is it not the first and second schedule?
The first and second schedule.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, first and second schedule. And basically, the request was basically because there was some misplacement. An item was placed in a different department or state department, which I think was trade, and now it needs to be taken to industry, Honorable Speaker. And I don't know whether I need to do it now or in the committee of the whole House.
Yeah, well, you see, if there will be a recommittal, it has to go back to the committee of the whole House. I was just trying to look at the extent of what is being recommitted, because if it
can be administrative.
But let's just do it the right way. But ordinarily, for me, it looks like it is something we could have easily resolved without having to go to the because it's something very administrative.
Yeah.
But just for good order, since we are going to be able to finish anyway quickly, let's do what you have asked. So I propose a question, which is that Well, I almost proposed it without a seconder.
Oh, sorry.
You should give us a second.
And I request Vice Chair Honorable Shinali to second.
Okay, Honorable Shinali. Give Honorable Shinali the mic, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second.
Thank you. So I propose a question, which is that the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the Whole House be amended by inserting the words subject to recommittal of the first and second schedules. I put the question, which is that the motion for agreement of the report of the Committee of the Whole House be amended by inserting the words subject to recommittal of the first and second schedule. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 9, motion, consideration of the report on the financial statements for the national government for the financial year 2019-2020. Question to be put.
Honorable members, I put the question, which is that this House adopts the report of the Public Accounts Committee on examination of the report of the Auditor General on financial statements for the national government for the financial year 2019-2020, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, June 8, 2022. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? When is our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 10, motion, ratification of agreement between the Kingdom of Denmark and the Republic of Kenya on defense cooperation. Question to be put.
I put the question, which is that pursuant to provisions of Section 7 and 8 of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act 2012, this House approves the ratification of defense cooperation between Kingdom of Denmark and Republic of Kenya, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, September 22, 2020. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? And as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 11, the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2022, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the equitable allocation of revenue raised nationally among the county governments for the 2022-2023 financial year, the responsibilities of national and county governments pursuant to such allocation and for connected purposes. Order number 12, the County Allocation of Revenue Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2022, second reading.
Chairperson? And Chairperson, take advantage of...
oh, yeah, the first one.
First of all, in fact, even before we proceed, let us take the exit report from the Chairperson Budget and also the Chairperson Broadcasting. Very quickly, then then you immediately... In fact, let's start with the Chairperson Broadcasting. We come back to you, and you finish laying the document and proceed.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you so much. Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, June 9th, 2022, entitled Exit Report of the Committee on the Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library for the 12th Parliament, 2017 to 2022. Thank you.
Very well. Okay, so the Honourable Chair Budget.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honourable Speaker.
Report, and then you go to that debate.
Thank you. I start guided. Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, June 8, 2022. Not Wednesday, it's actually Thursday, Honourable Speaker. The exit report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee for the 12th Parliament, that is from 2017 to 2022. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Very well. Now proceed. You can now proceed with the county allocation revenue bill. I would advise that we be as brief, all members, so that we can dispense up with this quickly.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that then the county allocation of revenue bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2022, be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, I want to say this is the horizontal sharing of revenue, Honorable Speaker, to the counties through the formula or the basis that was adopted both by the Senate and also the National Assembly, Honorable Speaker, and through the division of revenue bill and county allocation bill, Honorable Speaker, we were able to discuss these issues and at length, Honorable Speaker. The Senate has done the same, Honorable Speaker. The amount of money in terms of the shareable revenue that has been given to the counties is 370 billion shillings, Honorable Speaker. And we hope that, Honorable Speaker, in the coming year, Honorable Speaker, the counties will be able to utilize the funds as appropriated to them in the right manner. Because, Honorable Speaker, we have been doing this each and every year. But all the time, Honorable Speaker, when it comes to the question of accountability, Honorable Speaker, despite the fact that most of the accountability issues is in the Senate, Honorable Speaker, issues are raised every other year. And we beseech the Senate to be more vigilant, empower also the county assemblies so that they are also able to oversight these funds, Honorable Speaker, properly. The second issue, Honorable Speaker, is the expiring pending bills, Honorable Speaker. As much as we have the pending bills at the national level, we have so many complaints, Honorable Speaker, in the county level, whereby suppliers have supplied to county governments, but unfortunately, the subsequent county governments have not been able to clear the funds. And especially, Honorable Speaker, during this transition, governments operate in perpetuity. We have had situations whereby one governor refuses to honor, the commitments that have been done or that were done by the previous government. We want to remind them that a commitment by government is a commitment by government, and they should be honored. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, Honorable Speaker, because this is an issue that we have actually dealt with at length, Honorable Speaker, is to wish and hope that as we move forward, we will be able to allocate more funds, Honorable Speaker, to county governments. The functions that have been devolved, Honorable Speaker, we are hoping that in subsequent governments, they will be able to commensurate funding to also the functions that have also been devolved. But finally, Honorable Speaker, we also want to see county governments focusing on Schedule 4, the roles that have been devolved. That's the roles that they should actually be functioning and focusing so much on, as opposed to dwelling so much on the national government functions. With that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request the majority leader, Honorable Amos Kemunya, to second.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I rise to second this county allocation of revenue bill, which passed through Senate yesterday after a lot of deliberation. Never mind the fact that the figures were the same as last year. But I want to thank the Senate for really gathering enough members, especially within this busy schedule and with a large, vast amount of land they have to cover, which is slightly different from us. But they were able to make it to the House and pass this, the CARA. And let me also thank the House, take this opportunity as a second to thank the Budget and Appropriations Committee, because by the time we received this communication, they were able to convene a meeting early in the morning, consider it, and be able to come here and report their concurrence. The Constitution doesn't give us much leeway in terms of disagreeing with the Senate. Unfortunately for us, this year there is not even room to contemplate any disagreement, because we did approve within the BPS, within the Division of Revenue bill, which is now an act, and set aside 370 billion shillings that is going to be allocated across the counties through the horizontal allocation. And we did also approve the formula that came from Senate last time, which has been the basis of using this. And since it's been applied consistently between last year and this year for the same figures, then we don't have much of a choice than to just concur. Ours was just to ensure that the formula has been applied as decided by Parliament. And since this has been done, then we are happy to recommend to this House that we approve the county allocation of revenue bill, so that together with the appropriation bill that we've passed, they can become the basis of appropriating monies to the national government as well as to the counties. Honorable Speaker, I want to echo the words of the Chair of Budget. When you go across the countryside and talk to the young traders and contractors, you'll find most of them supply to counties. And the counties have been giving all manner of reasons as to why they should not pay for the services provided. So lots of pending bills are also crippling the businesses out there. And it started with, in 2017, with some governors who came in saying they would not honor the obligations of governors who they had been voted out until they do some comprehensive audits. Those comprehensive audits seem to have been done and finished, but people are still not being paid. And I know, I wouldn't name the counties for reasons that I might be traveling through them, and I want to be safe. But it's about every county there's a bill not paid to some of these young contractors. And now that we are getting into another election cycle, if we don't honor those obligations of 2017 and before, some governors are going to lose. New governors are going to come in. And the same story will be restarted, with the new governor saying they will not pay the obligations of the current regimes until they have done the audits, and the cycle will continue. But the sufferer is a Kenyan contractor who has provided a service, who has provided goods, and is now being auctioned by the banks because the county governments are delaying in their payment. So I would want to urge the county governments to honor those obligations. Let us not create unnecessary poverty in the country through, the denial of paying the obligations that were legitimately contracted by whichever government was there. Because it will happen also in the future. And I think it's the same thing with the national government, even as we appropriate, as we move to the end. I would like, before the close of June, before the IFMIS is shut down, at least let all those contractors who are owed money be paid, so that people can at least pay their employees. There are so many dependents on all these companies that are supplying to both the national and county government. Honorable Speaker, I believe the rest is self-evident, and I would want to just take this opportunity to thank the whole team that has been involved in the computation of these figures and all that, and wish that by the time we go to next year, things will have improved so we can have more money. But also, as I look at this, I know we had a bill which came from the Senate, and that's on the additional revenues. We looked at it in this House and said, it doesn't have to be done every year. In the wisdom of the Senate, they refused. And they said we need to go to mediation, and through a very protracted mediation, we gave in. And they said, well, they'll do it every year. But we are in this situation now where we have a CARA, but we need that other bill on the additional revenues, which Senate said they'll be doing every year. And we had done a very, a framework for them that covered the general principles, and the only thing that needed to be attached is the schedule to the CARA. But here we are, and I do hope they are going to finish on that one. But unfortunately, we will not be here to consider it. So for now, counties may have just to operate on what is within the CARA. The additional revenues will have to come when that is approved in this House, because that is the wisdom of the Senate. Yeah? And hence, for now, let's approve this one, and we wait for the other one to come. Should it come and should it become necessary, Honorable Speaker, we are still sitting until 8th of August. So should it be necessary, I'll call you to come and pass it for the sake of our counties. But it just shows that when we try to do something and people don't understand it, that it could put us in all this situation or put our counties in trouble. With those remarks, I beg to second.
You can see even when you don't call them majority leader, they don't come now. So you call them 1 week or 2 weeks to elections, you will not have the numbers. Now, so then I propose a question, which is the county allocation of revenue bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2022, be now read a second time. Well, I will give a few members. We need to move fast because we are also looking at numbers. So I will start with the Honorable. It seems to be a lot of interest, but I don't see the cards here. So let's start with the ones I see cards. Martin Owino, Ward Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to congratulate the team. This formula was protractedly negotiated. It is good, it's on force, and we just urge members to support it. Mr. Speaker, I just want to emphasize one thing on the counties, because we are having a lot of problems in constituencies, especially on the healthcare system. They don't pay their share for KEMSA, and KEMSA is on the verge of holding their distribution because of that, and people do not have medicine in the health facilities from level 1, from level 2 up to level 4, even level 5. So I want to ask the Senate, the incoming Senate, to up their game in their fiduciary responsibility for the county government, because household economies are also depending on this money we are removing from the treasury through this authority to the counties. So they should be transparent, the handovers should be smooth so that this money can reach the households, because without it, right now, after the COVID, the household economies are ravaged and people are suffering. So I just want to support this bill and urge that the counties should also up their games. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kilonzo Mutahi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I support this county allocation revenue bill, Mr. Speaker, it is unfortunate that, Mr. Speaker, most of these governors, they are elected as simple people. The minute they become governors, they become like demigods. Why would a governor refuse to pay a supplier? I have seen, Mr. Speaker, in counties like Machakos, healthcare has basically collapsed. Why? They're not able to pay for the drugs they collect from KEMSA. They're not able to pay for the cleaning services. And yet, Mr. Speaker, they have the money. What is disappointing, Mr. Speaker, and it's across the county, most governors want to do mega projects. For obvious reasons, Mr. Speaker, which the obvious reason is personal gain. They don't want to deal with the issue of providing services. If you move around the entire counties, even constituency per constituency, the projects you are likely to see are either projects under CDF or projects under national government. So, Mr. Speaker, it is very important as we go to election, if there is a shortcoming in law, the next Parliament, National Assembly and Senate should address to ensure, Mr. Speaker, funds are devolved even to ward level, so that we don't have a situation whereby governor treats this money as his personal kit. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Yeah, I see most of the members who put their requests are those who wanted to place Dr. Makali. Yes, Dr. Makali, and be brief.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to support this bill. But as I support this bill, Honorable Speaker, I think there are some fundamental questions we must ask ourselves as a House relating to the performance of the Senate. Honorable Speaker, if you look at our Constitution, it is clearly stated that the Senate is actually existing to serve the interests of the counties, which means their priority number one is the counties. You, Honorable Speaker, you look at the time we passed the Division of Revenue Bill to become an act of Parliament, and you look at the time it has taken the Senate to present this bill to this House, you ask yourself whether they are really serving the interest of the counties. And Mr. Speaker, I think even as we have the second Senate now exceeding, there are a number of lessons we need to learn as a House and the Senate needs to learn. That matters to do with the counties must be treated with the highest priority required, Honorable Speaker, because counties, some of them are really suffering as a result of really not being served well by the Senate. The second question, Mr. Speaker, we have been passing this money every year for the counties. The question is, how effective are we using these resources in terms of serving the Kenyans? And I think these are the questions Honorable Kilonzo is asking, this is the question Honorable Owino is asking, in terms of are Kenyans getting value for money from the resources we are appropriating for the counties? And I think that question can easily be answered by the Senate, not the National Assembly. So I think the Senate has a lot of work to do, but I think they are not focusing on their priority, they are focusing on other areas. The other area which is important, Honorable Speaker, is the area which Honorable Kemunya has just discussed. Honorable Speaker, you remember there was what we used to call the County Additional Resources Bill, which we passed in this House. And as a House, even though counties are not our priority number one, we are saying let's make this just a one-off bill so that every year we just attach their schedule. Now they insisted that they want that to be an annual bill. And now you can see Kara is with us here, but that bill is not attached. Which means, Honorable Speaker, the resources, the additional resources coming from either the government or our development partners are not going to be available to the counties. And now we are all going home, awaiting new houses to come in the National Assembly or the Senate. Those who will come will be new people. It might take time for them to settle. So, Honorable Speaker, you can see clearly, we are talking about either those resources being available July next year. So really, is the Senate serving the interest of the counties? The other issue, which is brought, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of monitoring the budget. And I think it's really, as a House now, I think this House and the coming one, which will now be the 13th House, Honorable Speaker, there might be need also for this House to take some responsibility when it comes to monitoring the implementation of the budgets we are even allocating to the counties. Because to me, I think really, unless we monitor, then there is going to be a problem. Now, for the national government, there is only one challenge I would want to post, Honorable Speaker, which needs to be considered. And this is the issue of the exchequer release, Honorable Speaker. You know, counties, every day you read the papers, they are complaining they are not getting money in time. I think it is also time the national government, through the Treasury, ups their game so that counties are able to get money in time and they implement services and goods to the Kenyans. Otherwise, we'll continue debating here, Honorable Speaker, and at the end of the day, we'll never change the lives of our people down at the counties. And I can tell you, Honorable Speaker, and I'm sure you are aware because you also represent people, our people are really suffering when it comes to goods and services expected from the counties. They are not able to access these goods, basically because
Counties are almost collapsing. They are not implementing projects. And where they implement, the implementation is tailored to where their interests are, forgetting about the basic requirements like health. I totally agree with Honorable Honorable Speaker. Most counties, the health sector is almost now collapsing. And you can't imagine a county economy to do well when people are not getting treatment, people are sick and they are not able to access drugs, they are not able to access even simple things like X-ray, Honorable Speaker. I think it is important that the Senate now takes their responsibility seriously, and I want to challenge the third Senate, which is now will be coming on board, Honorable Speaker, to take the matters we are discussing today seriously so that they start on the right footing. With those my remarks, I support, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Mutembei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support this county revenue allocation bill. And Mr. Speaker, just as my colleagues have said, there are so many pending bills at the county. And furthermore, some of these are bills that are incurred when contracts were awarded to young contractors, people who have used their funds, used their resources to do projects for the county. But they are now unable to finance their other contracts or even to proceed. And yet, this was a way of actually empowering them, especially the young men or young women who have just started ventured into contracts. So this bill, if passed, it should go along to assist those contractors that have not been paid. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, there's a lot of bureaucracy in the government, not only in the county, but also at the treasury. Even if we pass this bill, it will take a lot of time again to actually release the funds. So we urge treasury to cut down on bureaucracy. A lot of bureaucracy in financing or releasing funds to the county to enable to clear pending bills. Mr. Speaker, where I come from also, the drought has really ravaged our people. For the last 1.5 years, people are suffering. People are even starving. Communities are starving because they have lost their livelihoods. The cows, the cattle, the goats, and the sheep, which is a real source of livelihood. So even issues like emergency, addressing emergency by the counties, which is a default function actually, water, food stuff, is not available at all because of lack of funds. So this bill, if passed, which we are going to pass, I support it, will go along actually to address some of those problems that we are facing at the local level. Even paying fees, people are unable to pay fees because of the drought that has ravaged our areas. And to make it worse, Mr. Speaker, the cost of fuel has really gone up. Maybe people are complaining here in Nairobi and the other big cities in Kenya. But to go to places like Marsabit, Samburu, Turkana, those far-fledged counties, the cost of fuel in Baragoi town is 200 shillings per liter. What about Moyele now or Marsabit? We are really having a terrible situation in this country at the moment. So we need to do fast tracking. We need to urge Treasury to, if this bill is passed, we need to fast track it. And apart from that, the Kenya government should also look into the cost of fuel. I think the issue is there is no monitoring, there is no oversight by the Energy Control Commission. They are not going around. If it is 150 here, we should also say how much does it cost. They don't monitor. They don't go around to see what people are being actually harassed and actually they're being exploited. So, Mr. Speaker, with those remarks, I want to support.
As I proceed to give the mover to reply, let me recognize in the Speaker's gallery students from Moi Forces Academy, Lanet, from my own county of Nakuru, Bahati constituency. They are here, of course, on a visit to know the workings of the National Assembly, and they are very lucky because this is probably it's going to be the last sitting of the 12th Parliament. And they waited for tomorrow, they would have come to see the benches. Now they are able to see members, their own members of Parliament, at work. So let's have the mover reply. Mover? Mover reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As I rise to reply, I want to thank all the members who have made a contribution to this very, very critical bill. Honorable Speaker, to the governors, and especially during this transition, they should know that the funds that we are appropriating to them is public funds, and they should be used properly. Honorable Speaker, the debts, the pending bills, is something that we need to all the time remind the governors that despite that maybe there will be a change of regime, if they have an obligation to pay, they must pay, and they pay on time. The second issue is, of course, to Treasury to make sure that they also release these funds on time, not to wait for the last minute. With that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply.
Thank you very much. So I put the question, which is the County Revenue Allocation Bill, Senate Bill number 1 of 2022, be now read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? And as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of Parliament to provide for the equitable allocation of revenue raised nationally among the county governments for the 2022-2023 financial year, the responsibilities of national and county governments pursuant to such allocation, and for connected purposes. Order number 13, Committee of the Wool House.
Order. Members, you are now in Committee of the Whole House to consider the supplementary appropriation number 2 bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2022.
First schedule.
I propose that the first schedule will be the first schedule of the bill. Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I beg to move that the first schedule to the supplementary appropriation number 2 bill 2022 be amended with respect to vote number D1175, that's State Department for Industrialization, under program Standard and Business Incubation, by deleting the expression of Kenya shilling 24,917,000 and substituting thereof with the expression of Kenya shilling 10,083,000. I beg to move.
Well, I propose the question that the first schedule be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that the first schedule be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that the first schedule as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Second schedule.
I propose the question that the second schedule be part of the bill. Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I beg to move that the second schedule to the supplementary appropriation number 2 bill 2022 be amended with respect to vote number D1174, that is State Department for Trade and Enterprise Development, under program Trade Development and Promotion, by deleting the expression of Kenya shilling 810 million and substituting thereof with the expression of 115 million shillings. Basically, is a minus and plus. We are moving from Department of Trade to Department of Industry. It was a question of misplacement when we were doing the Committee of the Whole House.
I propose the question that the second schedule be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that the second schedule be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question, which is that the second schedule as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our opinion say nay? The ayes have it. We shall now, we have completed that business, and now I call upon the mover to move reporting.
I thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Supplementary Appropriation Number 2 Bill of National Assembly, Number 33 of 2022, and its approval thereof with amendments.
I now put the question that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Supplementary Appropriation Number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill Number 33 of 2022, and its approval thereof with amendments. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of our opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, we shall now consider the County Allocation of Revenue Amendment Bill, Senate Bill Number 1 of 2022 in Committee of the Whole House.
Clauses 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
I propose a question that clauses 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 be part of the bill. There are no amendments to this. I therefore put the question that clauses 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
First and second schedules.
I propose the question that the first and second schedules be part of the bill. There are no amendments to this. I therefore now put the question that the first and second schedules be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. There's no amendment to this. I therefore put the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. There's no amendment to this. I therefore now put the question that the title be the title of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Clause 1.
I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. There's no amendment to this. I therefore now put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of our opinion say nay? The ayes have it. We shall now move to reporting. The mover. Chair. Move reporting.
For the county.
County, yes.
Yes. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the County Allocation of Revenue Amendment Bill, Senate Bill Number 1 of 2022, and its approval thereof without amendment.
I put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the County Allocation of Revenue Amendment Bill, Senate Bill Number 1 of 2022, and its approval thereof without amendments. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contra opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Very well, we've completed that business for up to that point. We will now move on, honorable members, to consider the Kenya Revenue Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill Number 24 of 2022 in Committee of the Whole House.
clauses 3, sorry, let me take it. Clauses 2, 3, and 4.
I propose the question that clauses 2, 3, and 4 be part of the bill. There are no proposals to amend this. I therefore put the question that clauses 2, 3, and 4 be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 5.
I propose the question that clause 5 be part of the bill. There is a proposal to amend by the Honorable Aden Duale. Proceed, the Honorable Aden Duale.
I don't know. I mean, this is the seat for ranking member. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I beg to move that clause 5 of the bill be amended by inserting the following new subsection immediately after section 5. That the person who, in accordance with the order paper, and it is just a person who immediately before the commencement of this act held the office of the Commissioner General, member of the board, or commissioner shall continue to hold office only for the unexpired period of their term. This amendment is intended to limit the term of the current Commissioner General of Kenya Revenue Service, if House agrees with me, and the members of the board. This means that we shall continue to hold office for the unexpired term, and then the new members shall be recruited. This is just to make sure, because now if this House change the name from Kenya Revenue Authority to Kenya Revenue Service, that's a different body. So we must insulate the current Commissioner General and the current board in a transition way that the change of name does not affect their current status. So they will be in office until the expiry of time. That is a very fair, I think, the very fair amendment, and I think I want to protect from any further litigation by the busy bodies that are always around the streets of Nairobi. That, you know, the current Commissioner General was recruited as Kenya Revenue Authority. Though, so that we are changing to Kenya Revenue Service, we must protect the holders of those offices. I beg to move and ask maybe Honorable Chair of Budget to support.
I propose the question that clause 5 be amended as proposed by the Honorable Duale. The first go will be the leader of majority.
Yes. Honorable Chair, while I agree with the need for protection, I had already provided for that in the bill. The current clause 5 basically protects any person who held office as a member of the board or as an officer or member of the staff of the authority immediately before the commencement of this section shall continue to hold office as if that person had been appointed under this act. So every job is already saved. And also, we went further to provide for all the obligations of the clause 4, that subject to this act, all the rights, duties, obligations, assets, and liabilities at the commencement of this section shall be transferred to the service. So the change of name does not affect all the ongoing obligations. It does not affect the contracts. They will continue as if they were entered under this, because all we are doing is changing the name from authority to service. But all the ongoing obligations, including contracts with contractors and tenderers, continue as if they were contracted with authority being called a service. That is the essence of the transitional clause that we put. So, but what the Honorable Duale is saying is actually limiting for Commissioner General and the board or commissioners that those ones will be the only ones who continue for the unexpired. Now, this has obviously then got the issue of a contradiction for other members of staff who are on a certain contract. What happens to them, right? No, because we are talking of member of the board or commissioner general. If you specify this and you don't put the same thing for the expert for everyone else, then you are getting some two different things. Honorable Speaker, Chair, I would urge that we, and you can guide us on this from your legal, that if it's already provided for, there's no additional value to be created by then further specifying these three officers. The Commissioner General, the board is already provided for. Commissioner General and commissioners are members of the staff of the authority. So they already provided for, they are already saved, and I don't see what value we'll be getting. It's just a superfluous amendment, but that could also attract some litigation, especially since this is not been subjected to any public participation. The bill has only been subjected to public participation with respect to the change of name. Now, change of officers and everything else has not been subjected to public participation. And we could well have this thing being brought in litigation starting, that we are changing the terms of Commissioner General, we are limiting it only to a term. We are now saying he's probably not eligible to start. We are then going further to even redesignate the way they will be appointed, which is not part of the original bill. And that has not been subjected to any public participation. We don't know what the public would have said about it. And hence, I would urge that we limit ourselves to the substance of the bill and not expand its scope to beyond what the bill was intended, which was to change the name from Revenue Authority to Revenue Service. Honorable Speaker, I beg to oppose this amendment.
The Honorable Martin Owino, member for the
Chair, thank you. I think the concern of Honorable Dole is taken care of, because when you go to specificity of who to remain and who to go, then you will be kind of drafting another bill. So instead of voting no, Honorable Duale, I think the majority has really explained. If you could withdraw, make it easy for us to move on. Thank you.
The Honorable Okello.
I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Basically, I do not see big variance in these two arguments between the leader of majority emeritus and the current leader of majority. But again, it cures a real malady, Honorable Speaker. Number one, we are transiting from service to from KRA to Kenya Revenue Services. And if we do not, with certainty, decipher those two issues, then it may be assumed, firstly, that you have commissioners beginning a new term under a new service. So I think this needs to be specified categorically, that it is a continuation of what has been in place, awaiting their exit, because basically they will exit at the end of the day. But again, it helps protect the institutional memory of KRA transiting into services, Honorable Speaker. So I only wish that the two majority leaders would sit together and come up with a concurrence. If it is a matter of semantics, let us sit down and put them in good shape. Otherwise, I support both, Honorable Speaker.
Bayaya, the Honorable Bayaya.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for giving this opportunity. My question is on the process. If the Honorable Duale raised an amendment and proposed, and there has not been any secondment, would it be right for this matter to move forward? Because he asked the chair budget to second, and he declined, and yet this matter is proceeding to debate.
Now, the Honorable Bayaya, when we are in committee and the amendment is captured in the order paper, there is no need for secondment. The Honorable Duale.
Mr. Chairman, the gist of the matter is that we must state it in law that the current Commissioner General and the board, by transiting from Kenya Revenue Authority to Kenya Revenue Service, they don't take it as a fresh start. That the Commissioner General and the board can say, this is a different entity. So we are starting afresh. So what I'm trying to say is that let us put it, we are lawmakers. Transitional and consequential amendments are very critical and fundamental in drafting of laws. So what I'm just saying is that there's a current Commissioner General and there's a board. So you are changing, it's like you're changing the name of the Kenya National Assembly to Kenya National Representative. So what will be the fate of the clerk as of now? So we must have a safeguard to make sure that as we change the name, the current Commissioner General and the board will not take it on the face of it, that they are starting a new organization. I mean, I came all the way from Mandera. I came all the way from Mandera because this amendment was critical, even when I was the leader of majority. Kenya Revenue Authority is critical. And by the way, if the House convenes me, I have no problem. But what I'm saying is, transitional and consequential amendments in lawmaking in this House are very fundamental. You can't just have a law hanging. So, Chair, I really want to ask the leader of majority if that safeguard has been provided in the bill, and it's not provided in the bill. It is not. Please, it's not. You know, I have read this bill. Let us not try to play balls. I'm just trying to, I don't want to become the Commissioner General. But the Commissioner General, the current Commissioner General has a term limit, which is renewable. Now, when you have a new organization, can we just say it in law that he will continue and secure his expired term if the new board and the board, but if the Kenya Revenue Service gives him a renewal, we have no problem. Mine is about transitional and consequential amendment in terms of drafting of laws for this House. And I've been around with the Honorable Kimunya.
Very well. There's nothing out of order, the Honorable Doyle. You have heard your say. Let others also speak. The Honorable Kamket. The Honorable Kizito.
Chairman, thank you so much. I want to support Duale on this amendment. And I want to think that there's nothing wrong in reiteration in law as long as it's evoking clarity. Because actually, matter transition can be something else if you don't really take care of that. So for me, I would want to urge the House to accept that amendment for purposes of clarity, and even if it is a reiteration, it does not actually kill or break a bone. So actually, I support that amendment.
The Honorable Ahome, member for Kandara.
Well, yeah, thank you, Speaker. Unfortunately for Kanini Kega, he is not sitting on the Speaker's seat. Thank you, Chairman. I want to rise to support Duare. This is a legal question for the unexpired term. So I would want to support the amendment. And you see, Majority Leader is not listening. Kanini Kega is making sure that he doesn't listen. You know, Kanini Kega has secured a new name, but I don't want
the Honorable Member for Kandara, do not be unduly concerned by what the Honorable
Let me not
Kanini.
be distracted because, yes,
because what is important is what the other members are listening
guided.
to. Yes.
Well guided. He's my friend. I was saying that the Majority Leader, Amos Kemunya, should agree that we need to secure even the unexpired period of the current commissioner and the board. If we do not, it will be assumed the new service, unless there is clarity in law, we will have to recruit afresh. And I think it is not necessarily right for people to exit midway, and if it's an year or two remaining, for purposes of institutional memory and securing better transition and good governance, I think we should secure the transition period, but it cannot be assumed that they will start afresh. And therefore, I stand to support the Honorable Duare. Yeah, thank you.
Honorable members, I think we have all spoken to this. The Honorable Alice will tell you, just relax. The chair is speaking. You cannot force the chair by carrying up your hands. Just relax. I'll give you an opportunity. But the Honorable Alice, you will remember that in law, in the practice of law, there is the doctrine of being abundantly cautious. That is what you are speaking to. And I believe that is what the Honorable Duale is speaking to. And you will recall that I think it is in Burundi where they had a constitution that was not clear about the terms of even a president, and the president insisted that he's starting a new term. So there is no harm in being abundantly cautious to provide that they will serve for clearly as the Honorable Duale has done. But that again is for the House to decide. I will allow 2 or 3 more people to speak to this so that we put the question. And the first one will be the Honorable Ogutu Abel, member for Bomachoge Borabu.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I want to agree with you that the sentiments that have been shared are for the welfare of the new entity that has been renamed, the entity that has been renamed. But, Honorable Chair, I think the question we want to ask in this House is whether we want to add to the wordings of the document, because already Honorable Kimunya has alluded to a section which actually takes care of the service, the serving period of the existing commissioners plus the staff of KRA. Honorable Chair, we have done similar amendments before, and we have always provided that caption that the current membership in the committees and the commissioners will always remain in office until such a time that their term expired, from which time then a new board takes up. So for me, it's a question of asking whether we need to add to the volume of the document, because already that is taken care of, or do we want to go with the clause that has already been given by Honorable Kimunya? Thank you, Chair.
The Honorable Makalimulu.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, Mr. Chairman, the Professor has just taken the word from my mouth, because that's what I wanted to say. We have the bill with us. Why can't we just read that clause 5 and see whether it provides for what Duale once provided for? If there is a gap, then we take up that gap and include what Duale has said. Because I think Kimunya is quoting some clause in the bill that must be written already. So if we just read through that, we see that it takes care of Honorable Duale. If not, then we include whatever Duale is saying. But it is important we accommodate both in terms. We don't want a situation where somebody loses a job as a result of enacting a new law. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Brilliant. Honorable members, now what you are looking at is this. Just hold on. In the bill, what is in the bill at clause 5.5? This is what it says. Any person who held office as a member of the board or as an officer or a member of staff of the authority immediately before the commencement of this section shall continue to hold office as if that person had been appointed under this act. That is what is in the bill. Now, what the honorable member for Garissa is proposing to do to reinforce it is this. He is proposing to add a new clause, subclause 5A, which will read as this. A person who immediately before the commencement of this act held the office of Commissioner General, member of the board, or commissioner shall continue to hold office only for the unexpired period of their term. These are the two competing clauses that we are looking at. Now, the Honorable Shinali, you are the one who has not spoken.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Chair, I have listened, and Chair, you have put even more clarity. I think the bill covers what we are looking for. The only difference here is, according to Honorable Tuale's amendment, once you've served, when your term expires, even if you are due for renewal, you cannot be renewed. Mr. Speaker, this amendment must fall, because if you are serving and you are eligible to renew another term, Mr. Speaker, you must be granted that opportunity, because the Constitution also allows you to serve. But if you put this amendment, then if you are there as a Commissioner General, once the first term expires, you cannot get a second term, Mr. Speaker. That is to my understanding, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Kanini Kega.
Thank you, Chair. I think the Vice Chair has clearly articulated the issues that I also wanted to comment on. When you say shall and only, Mr. Speaker, it's limiting. It means that these commissioners and also the Commissioner General can only will only be eligible to serve for the term that they have. If they want to seek for renewal, it is not provided for. So, Honorable Chair, I beg to oppose.
Now, because all this are arising out of the proposals by the Honorable Duale, I will allow him to have the final say on this.
Chair,
yes, of course. The leader will allow you. Of course,
Chair,
it is your bill.
Chair, of course, ultimately, because this is the last day of the 12th Parliament, and I want to close my parliamentary business with this amendment. So it will go to vote. But, Chair, those who are saying only and shall, I want to ask them a question, a very moral, fundamental question. I am securing the current contract of the Commissioner General and the board. Am I right? In my amendment. Why are you talking about anticipation? When this one expires, he is subjected to performance contracting by the new board, by government. You know, Honorable Kimunya, I have been a leader of majority, and I have been the first leader of majority. And I served for 7.5 years. When a member is talking, I don't talk. I'm just saying, I can never remove the on, but I can see a feeling. And by the way, the current Commissioner General of KRA is a very good friend of mine. He appeared a number of times before the Public Accounts Committee with Honorable Eseli, very competent officer. And we make laws for posterity. We don't make laws for individuals. I'm securing from the change of authority to service his term. How the second term will be dealt with is subject to the board that will be in place. So I don't know why you're caring more about only shall. You're anticipating what will happen when he's subjected. So, Mr. Chair, I think what we do, because I have spoken in this house for 17,000 times, for it to, 17,000, I've gone to the Hansard, and I want to finish it to 17,020, because this afternoon I have other issues. So can you put it to question? And I have had about 2,200 amendments.
It's well.
So put the question. Let it be part of it.
There is no doubt that you are leading in that aspect of the number of times spoken on record. The Honorable Kimunya, finally, before we put this question.
Chair, the issue goes beyond what's on paper. When you see a toad in the day, something is chasing it. The current Commissioner General of KRA, and indeed the commissioners, have been under constant attack by a certain group of politicians because of the stance they have taken in in collection of revenue.
Just hold on, the honorable leader, the honorable Duale, what is out of order?
No, point of order. Chair. Point of order. You need to, point of order. We're not discussing politics. I have an amendment. I have justified. Chair, if you allow him to go that route,
the honorable Duale, you've made your point. Let me just guide the leader. Let me just guide politics. The leader. Leader of majority, kindly. This is the letter of the law. Let us leave politics out of it. Let's just make good law. We are not making law for specific individuals, but we are making law for the country. Yes. So just let's deal with the dry bones of the law as it is before us.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, the import of this amendment is to specifically limit the service of commissioners, the current Commissioner General, and members of the board to only the unexpired term, and thereafter they will not be eligible. So, because this is such a fundamental alteration of the original bill, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Chair, I want to save this House the time to debate this and the subsequent amendment following this by withdrawing the bill. No, I can. I'm the mover.